Thank you for joining us today. To our not only our current clients who are joining, but hopefully some of our future ones as well. My name is Samantha Bauer. I am the account executive here at Siena Education Services. I came to Siena with over 10 plus years of admissions and higher education background. I have worked in cosmetology schools. I have worked in nursing schools. I have worked in a media training school. So I have actually been sitting right where a lot of you are sitting in that admissions role. So we are so happy and excited to talk with you today about our EDlumina software. And again, it is incredible or critical to have the right software in place to run your school successfully. Also joining us here today is Anna Hawk. She is our VP of Technology and Client Success. Anna, when you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Sam. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining today. I've been with Siena for 7 years now, which is hard to believe, but we have iterated off of EDlumina from a legacy platform to what I'll show you guys today. And so we're really excited to share our experience and share what we think will be a great way for you guys to help run your business through the admissions process and on. So without further ado, I can go ahead and share my screen. Sam, anything else from you?
Yep, I just want to have everyone keep in mind, we will be doing question and answer section at the very end of this. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see the Q&A. Make sure you pop your questions in there and we will get to those. So I know it's a busy time of year. Don't want to take up any more of your time than we need to. So Anna, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, so a few things that we want to go over with regard to admissions best practices will just be a general overview of EDlumina. You'll kind of see how all of this is laid out specifically for schools, because this is what we've built the system for. So I think you'll see very quickly and early on that this isn't something that we've tried to fit other people into. It really is designed for schools in primarily private post-secondary education. So you'll see that very quickly. And then we'll want to talk about how you can utilize a follow-up structure, how nurturing campaigns for leads that, maybe they're in high school or they have enrolled but yet to start, and how you can utilize functionality within EDlumina to stay on top of that. And then lastly, we'll go over how some other automation with your steps, which we'll get to a little bit more in just a moment, can really help your business flow so that your representatives or the people that are reaching out to your prospects can stay on top of their day-to-day jobs while also making those critical phone calls and being able to engage with your prospects on the day-to-day. So without further ado, I'll jump on in. Okay, so this is EDlumina for those of you that haven't seen it before. And this very first page is perhaps one of the most important that you're gonna use in the system. And I say that because this is where all of the new leads are coming in. So if you have somebody that has contacted you from your website or from Facebook, a Google AdWords campaign, all of that will populate into the system automatically. You can, of course, add leads manually yourself, but on this page, again, these are going to be those hot leads that have just tried to contact you. So you want to make sure that you're always looking at this page and either texting, calling, or emailing these people as soon as they come into the system, because this is when they're going to be most apt to talk to you. Definitely from an admissions perspective, I think Sam can speak to it as well, that this is one of those critical times in the admissions flow. So the next page that I want to jump to is our unique follow-up structure and how this is laid out. This is really going to be for a representative or somebody that is working the prospects, their daily task list. And so you want to make sure that you have all of this set up and you have an event set for somebody at any given time. And so the reason why, from an admissions perspective, this keeps you on task is the way that things are detailed. So here at the top, you can see you have nothing is scheduled. So this means that you don't have an event set with that lead. And if they are assigned to me, those will always pull to the top. If you're a manager and you want to check up on, what your leads are doing or what your representatives are doing at any given time, you might be able to use this view to say, hey, why don't we have any follow-up scheduled for 15 of these leads? Like, let's make sure that we know what our next point of contact will be. Now, if you want to create a follow-up, it's as simple as clicking that link there. You can say if it was a follow-up, which is more for your own internal processes, or appointment, interview, financial aid type of events there as well. Now, next in line, it will be anything that is past due. Again, these things are pulled to the top because you have to take an action on this prospect and you have yet to do so. Maybe it's just that you need to make some determination on the outcome of that event. Did you get in touch with them? Did they no-show for an appointment? You'll be able to track all of that with this flow and the way that the follow-ups page is set up. So then lastly on this page, you'll see you have everything up and coming. So this is really what you want to see. You primarily want to see everything that is up and coming. And it is, again, so simple to modify that follow-up. If you can't get to it today, make sure you set it for the next day. This will keep you on task and making sure that you are up to date with everything that you need to be for each of those leads.
This is great too from an admission standpoint, and to be able to plan out your day and week as well, so you know what you have going for that day as far as appointments, follow-ups, things like that. So definitely, to Anna's point, keep that up to date.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. So the next thing that I want to draw your attention to from an admissions best practice standard is having a defined workflow of how you are going to enroll your leads. We work with some schools that have this well defined before we ever talk to them. And then we work with others that are just managing things on spreadsheets and haven't really thought about how specifically they would determine, the workflow for enrolling somebody. This is useful for many different reasons, but primarily so that you know exactly where your prospect is at the process in which you're trying to enroll them. So here, this is a pretty simple one, and one that we would suggest to you if you have never kind of worked with a set workflow in mind before. So here you can see you have lead in, contact attempted, contacted, all the way down through enrolled. Again, these are very kind of a simple workflow that you can use to follow and guide as part of your admissions best practices. All right. So how does that flow into the rest of the system? I point those few things out with how you manage your follow-ups and then how you can utilize your workflow, basically so that you can understand this messaging templates, which is a great feature that you can use for your admissions team. So we know a lot of schools have their message templates on pieces of, Word docs in their system, and they're having to copy and paste all the time what they want to send, because they repeat things. And that's, crucial to being able to reach out to many leads at one time. So this system here, you'll have a message template where you can easily create new templates or review the ones that you've already created. These can be HTML enabled messages, which I'll give you an example of shortly, as well as just simple text where you're incorporating things like the lead's name, their email address, or the program of interest. So again, this is going to be a great repository of information that you can use over and over again to do some of that outreach, so that it again alleviates time for your admissions reps to talk to their leads. I'll hand it over to Sam to talk a little bit about what kinds of messaging you could utilize in this type of system.
Great, thanks, Anna. So just keep in mind when you are setting up these message templates, you can keep them very short and sweet, so you don't have to keep referring to a Word document as Anna suggested. They are all right there for you. Keep your questions open-ended so the leads can engage with you. Another good point is asking them questions such as, are you working? That lets you know their schedule. So then in your mind, you can say, okay, if they're working from 9 to 5, we need to schedule them an appointment to 5:30. Allows you to give them a good appointment time. Also, too, if they're working, it also lets you know, are they going to be able to pay for school or not? Are they going to need financial aid? Things like that. So those are good questions to include, allowing them to engage with you as the admissions rep. And lastly, the best thing I can tell you is just be supportive in these emails. Keep reminding them when you're setting up these templates that they're not alone. You know, you're going to help them throughout the process, help them apply, help them meet with financial aid. And the best thing is you can always keep track of them. And Anna will talk soon about some automation steps. But you can set them an email just saying their first day of class, how did it go? So they know that they are being supported, that you are being supportive, and then that they feel comfortable with you. So thank you, Anna.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. So I'll actually tag onto some of those things that Sam just mentioned in a couple of different ways. So the next page that I'm showing you is where you manage your workflow. So again, the original workflow I showed you here is all customizable. So if you have a few different naming conventions, or you want something with a little bit more breadth to it, you can add all of those different steps to your leads. Now, how does that work with automation? Again, as Sam mentioned, having those messages that are open-ended, you can incorporate those into the system right away so that as soon as they hit that workflow step, that message will go out to them. You can also continue to add on different rules. Say you want another message to go out to them in 4 days. So here you have your contacted one and then your second contact attempt. If they are in that workflow step, you don't even have to think about it. These messages are always going out to them without even ever having to do any outreach. Hopefully they'll respond back to you, and I'll show you a lead profile page where the messaging exists in just a moment. But again, this is a great way to do that. So one of the things that Sam just sparked that I thought about too is that started step. So if you want to incorporate knowing, okay, all of those leads that just started, you could incorporate that into your steps list. And then again, add one of those message templates that said something like, how was your first day of class? Can we help you? Making sure that they feel heard and know that they're going to have a good experience at your school. So those are definitely great examples, Sam, of ways that you can do outreach even after they've started to make them have the best experience and speak highly of you after they've graduated.
Great.
So
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Steps are huge. And when I first saw EDlumina, I was really drawn to. I had never seen anything like this. And it was great knowing from an admissions perspective that my leads would be getting contacted however many days in a row I wanted via text or email. And I wouldn't even have to do anything other than maybe give a phone call here and there. And luckily hopefully get them on the phone. But these steps are huge when it comes to the admissions process.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. So the last couple of things that I want to talk through are a few other features of the system that you guys can utilize as part of your admissions team. And so that's going to really be to group your leads. You want to group them into different subsets so that when you're sending out messages, you can really make it custom to them. I know probably this last fall, we got a lot of text messages and things like that, ended up on some email list. And, if you can really pare it down to what their interest is, if it is their program, or if they had just signed up and come into an appointment or a tour, here you can see you have a booked tour step. So maybe I want to find everybody in that booked tour to say, hey, here's the address. Make sure you arrive 15 minutes ahead of schedule. And with our advanced search functionality, you can really pinpoint and pare down all of those different leads. And so then you can also go back and save them. So every school is different and they're going to want to track and do reach out based on different methods, but I've pulled up a few. So let's say you are in the financial aid process, or you're looking at all of the 2021 grads. So in the system, these are the people that I have that are high school graduates coming up in May. This would be a great time to start doing reach out to them. But I was able to find this based on their high school grad year that I captured in their lead profile, which I'll show you in just a moment. So from here, you can easily highlight all of the people that you want to message and then send them a note. That could either be an email or a text message. And here's those message templates again. You can easily incorporate those message templates that we've created. If this was a high school specific one, you could even track it by the high school that they've attended. I went to Tucker High School. So it'd say, congratulations, 2021 high school grad. Hope your experience at Tucker was great. We want you to consider us. So really being able to capture and put in as much information you can into a system like this is going to help you exponentially as you start to do more outreach. And so this lead profile page that I've been talking about so much is where I want to wrap things up so that we have enough time to do a little bit of Q&A. And so on this page, again, there is a lot of different data that you can capture. And a lot of this is going to come in automatically from your contact forms. And that's what you want. You don't want to be doing data entry every day. You want as much information in detail to populate here. So maybe start on your contact forms asking, are they interested in the day or night program? Is it, a specific campus and what program of interest it is? Obviously, if you can capture their email address, their telephone number, high school grad year, and the high school that they've attended as well, this again will help you to start to pinpoint specific leads and how you want to do your, unique outreach to them. Another great thing about the system is that you have all of the events in one place, so you know exactly what is taking place with them. You can see maybe they're not going to be a good fit for you guys because they've had, 3 or 4 no-shows. So is that really going to be a good fit? And it would be something you'd want to address with the student up front. We always suggest as an admissions best practice to enter a note every time you've either had a contact or attempted a contact. And the way the system is set up, if you want, reps can share leads and look at each other's information. If you want to lock that down, you can as well. But here's a great, opportunity for if somebody's taking vacation or out for a week, you know exactly what has happened with that lead rather than keeping it all on spreadsheets. The last thing that I'll touch on for the profile before I wrap up with the messaging is just to show you that we have this documents functionality. And I think in one of our upcoming demos, we'll dig into this one a little bit more because it is such a great feature that we wanted to devote the right time to. But I did want to draw your attention to it here in that we can capture uploads. You can incorporate your application or your enrollment agreement in here as well. And so this is where you just start to capture the entire student profile from the start. Sienna does a lot of work in the regulatory and compliance world as well. So we know how important it is to have all of that documentation in one place. So the last thing that I want to touch on is just that messaging. So where all this messaging that I've talked about, where does that live? How does it work for the students? And that is here in your direct message. So those mass messages, the messages that are going out automatically based on their lead step, all show up in each individual's profile. Again, here's where you can incorporate your different message templates. This particular one is an HTML enabled one. So, if you have a marketing team on staff that can work to send out these picture messages and things like that and help you create these nice images and messaging, you can incorporate that into the system too. You can also just send regular emails and texts should you want to as well. And anytime a lead responds back to you, and this is one of the best things, it all populates here. So you can have that conversation again, and then a rep might go out, on leave for a couple of days. The conversation that they've had with them because it is all in one place. So you have the ability to message them all in one place. You have the ability to document information about them, to capture their documents, and then you have all the communication in one place. The main goal with this system is to help schools consolidate their business so they're not using, all of the different types of applications out there to do one thing. Instead, use it in one system so that you're not running around and you know exactly what you need to do on a day-to-day basis. That kind of wraps it up for me. I'd love to open it up for questions, or Sam, if you have anything else to add on.
Yeah, no, that was great, Anna. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and get to some questions. We do have a few. So again, we have a bunch actually, but we're going to answer a few. And then again, if I don't get to them, we definitely will. I'll contact you one way or another to get your questions answered. So let's start off with a few. So we do have a great one here. It says, what is a good schedule for sending up follow-up emails? So Anna, if you just want to go to the
Message
Steps.
templates? Oh,
Yep.
steps, sure.
Steps, and I can answer that. So great question. My suggestion is that first lead in step, I would send out an email 0 minutes. So as soon as that hits EDlumina, it goes right to them. So they're getting a follow-up email, and it could be as simple as saying, hey, thanks for contacting us. I'm available, tomorrow at 10 or tomorrow at 2 p.m. to discuss, something to keep them engaged. And then I would send out another one, probably a couple hours after that one goes out. So that way you can send an email or a text via that way. Then once you've done that, from your lead in, you want to move them to that next step after they've been contacted. So the next day you come in, you've contacted them, let's move them to that contact step. Then you can go ahead and set out emails. I would set them for the first couple contacts. I would set those to go out every day or every other day, either text or email, probably for the next 2 weeks. Following that, you can move it out a couple more days. And again, like I tell everyone, it is okay to say, are you still interested? Usually you will get a response one way or another, like, oh yes, I got busy. So just keeping those questions until you finally get to that. But yeah, every couple days, every few days, and then you can kind of spread them out weeks there just to keep them engaged. All righty, awesome. Let's answer, hopefully I answered your question. Let's get to another one. We have a couple here about lead assignment. Can you assign leads to go to certain admissions reps, and how many?
Awesome. That is a great question, and one I can definitely speak to. So in the system, and especially if you have different campuses, you can route leads accordingly. So you could go to your campus. This is an online one for demo purposes. And then you can say, okay, rep 1, you're going to get 50%, or rep 2, you're going to get 50%. But now say somebody is more seasoned, they've been doing this for a lot longer, and maybe they can handle a little bit more. And you have somebody that's just coming on. You may want to split those differently. So 70-30. You could also show the associated programs. So say somebody is really, good at talking about and understanding the cosmetology program, and somebody else is better at doing the barbering program. You could separate leads out that way as well, so that you are sending and pinpointing the leads to the right person or to the subject matter expert there. So that's absolutely a great question, and can be done in the system automatically as well.
Great, thank you, Anna. Also, just another one. It says, sorry, I'm just reading. There's so many.
That's awesome.
Okay, another lead that came in, we'll just touch on quickly because hopefully we can get to this in another webinar. But Anna, if you could just show that there is reporting feature.
Oh,
there.
sure. Yes, there are lots of reports, and this is a webinar. This is actually the next one that we wanted to tackle as well. I'll briefly highlight this, but there are some great reports. We have an overview dashboard that tracks, lead in all the way through to the enrollment lifecycle and what your trends are going to be for that. You can calculate that with your enrolled numbers and then your starts over a given period of time. You have an enrollment report to know for every cohort start, how many are planned to start, what was your goals, and then how many actually showed and started. Productivity reports, demographic reports, efficacy and action reports. Again, I think in the next demo, this is going to be something we'll really want to highlight so that you can understand what can I do better and how can I use the data and the reporting functionality to do that better and to highlight different things with your representatives.
Great, thank you. All right, well, I know there's a lot of questions that we didn't quite get to, but like I said, check your inbox. I will get your answers to those very soon. But I do I want to thank everyone for attending. Anna, do you have anything else that you wanted to?
No, I just pulled up, if you want more information, you can go to edlumina.com to review some of the latest things that we've just pushed out release-wise. You can view, training manuals if you're existing clients, and then we'd love to set up some one-on-one discussions with you.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. And again, like I said, thank you again for joining, whether you are a current client just looking for a refresher, or hopefully you'll be a future client of EDlumina soon. We just hope that you did learn something today from the both of us. And so like Anna said before, until then, please visit edlumina.com for more information. And again, thank you.